Boxing Lowdown, and I'm back with another video. So this is my reaction to Billy Joe Saunders signing a long-term deal, a multi-fight deal with Matchroom after years, his whole career being with Frank Warren. He's literally crossed the border and signed with Matchroom. Now, for me, I think this is a good move, and that's no disrespect to Frank Warren at all. Actually, you know what? Let me talk about Frank Warren and Billy Joe Saunders before I move on to the future. Frank Warren's done a tremendous job. We can't deny that with Billy Joe Saunders. Since he's come out of the amateurs, he's, he was a great amateur, Billy Joe Saunders. And Frank Warren signed him up. He took him down a traditional route, British Commonwealth, and he eventually won the world title. Frank Warren delivered that for him. And, he's done what he's done with a lot of fighters, Frank Warren. He's delivered world titles for his fighters, and he stepped them up his way. And, he did the same with Billy Joe Saunders. So we can't deny Frank Warren's influence on Billy Joe Saunders' career. And I was happy to see that the two had an amicable split because they've been with each other for so long. And, Billy Joe Saunders' career, stuttering and starting, taking a bit of a hit every now and then. I wouldn't put all the blame down to Frank Warren. I think that Billy Joe Saunders has been ill-disciplined outside of the ring at times. And, Frank Warren hasn't really been able to deliver the sort of fights for him. So a change is needed, I think, at this time. He's heading into his 30s now, if he's not 30 already. Billy Joe Saunders needs to go up against these middleweights, the likes of Canelo, Charlo, Andrade, Triple G. There's so many guys out there he can fight, but unfortunately for Frank Warren, he wasn't able to deliver them for him. By joining Matchroom now, by crossing the other side of the border, so to speak, those fights are much more viable now. Eddie Hearn, as we know, has Matchroom Boxing over here in the UK, and he currently works for DAZN over in the US. So other fighters signed to DAZN, as we know, are Canelo, Demetrius Andrade, Triple G. Those fights should be very easy to make, whereas when Billy Joe Saunders was with Frank Warren, those are very difficult to make because, it's hard to get a network deal between the two companies. But over here in the UK, a domestic fight with the likes of Callum Smith is much more easier to make now. They both sit under Matchroom Boxing. So it does make sense for Billy Joe Saunders to sign with Matchroom. And the two had a pretty good relationship anyway, Eddie Hearn and Billy Joe. So it's not like Billy Joe's heading into unknown territory. He knows Eddie Hearn really well, and the two get on. So I think that this is a good partnership. He's split up with Frank Warren amicably, which is good. Nobody wants to see a fighter in a long, drawn-out contract process where the promoter doesn't want the fighter to leave or whatnot. So it's good to see that. The time is now. As I've said on my previous Billy Joe Saunders videos, the time is now for Billy Joe Saunders to go up there and step up against some of the elite middleweights, because we know that he's got the talent. We saw how well he was against David Lemieux. We know his ability inside the ring. We don't want to see his talent wasted on guys which we know he's going to beat. We want to see him up in those 50-50 fights. Andrade, Triple G, Canelo. We want to see Billy Joe Saunders against those kind of guys. Now, if he beats those guys, whether he beats all of them or not, that remains to be seen. And even if he takes a loss here and there, we need to see him fight these fighters fight, man. We need to see the fight. So I think it's a good move for him. I think Eddie Hearn will deliver the fight eventually. Maybe he might have a warm-up later on this year. I think it's going to be in America, they said. But next year, if that is the case, next year we do want to see him in with these kind of guys. Now, these should be easy to make. There's no excuses now. Billy Joe Saunders said he wants them. Eddie Hearn is committed to making them. So let's see it happen, man. I'm very excited about it. And so are a lot of other people, actually. They are excited to see Billy Joe Saunders take this next step in his career. And again, that's no disrespect to Frank Warren, but the fights weren't being delivered. It was stopping. It was a startery sort of career. And, I think Frank Warren took him as far as he could take him. And now it's time for Billy Joe to, step up against these guys. But let me know you guys' thoughts and opinions about it. Do you think Billy Joe Saunders made the right decision going over to Matchroom? Who would you like to see him fight next? There's so many people out there. Chris Eubank Jr. is a possibility as well. I know he's not with Matchroom, but I'm sure Chris Eubank Jr. and his team would be a lot easier to work with Eddie Hearn than he would with Frank Warren. So that's a possibility as well. But anyway, let me know what you guys think about it. I'll reply to each of your comments, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.